Hello everybody, and welcome to the August 27th, 2021 Tropical Update. Right now, we have Hurricane Ida now. It just got upgraded to a hurricane as of 1:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, and it currently has winds of 75 miles per hour and is moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. And what you're looking at is the projected cone, and it's going to be making landfall as a 120 mile per hour Category 3 major hurricane Sunday evening in southeastern Louisiana. And New Orleans is going to be feeling some serious impacts. So I'll be going over the impacts, the potential threats, and the potential for a catastrophic rapid intensification phase. So here are the National Hurricane Center's watches and warnings. So we have hurricane warnings in effect for western Cuba, and tropical storm warnings in effect for central Cuba on both the northern and southern coasts, and we have hurricane watches extending from Lake Charles through Mobile, Alabama, and a tropical storm watch from Mobile, Alabama to Pensacola, Florida. So we're going to be looking at some of the impacts, but first we're going to be looking at Windshear Map. We're going to see if there's any wind shear that's going to prohibit its strengthening. So here's the Windshear Tendency Map, and as you see, there is a little bit of wind shear, probably about 25 knots of wind shear, but as I'll show you in the satellite, it doesn't really seem to be impacting the storm that much anymore. As you'll see, the center is closed off, and the wind shear unfortunately seems to be weakening and is going to be projected to weaken even more as Ida moves into the Gulf. And if it moves into this area, my goodness gracious, I believe that it has the potential to explode to not only a Category 3, but Category 4 is not out of the question as it approaches southeastern Louisiana. So let me show you the impact maps, because that is what we're really concerned about right now, are the serious impacts. So first we're going to be looking at projected rainfall. And in this rainfall map, the light green is 1 to 2 inches of rain, the dark green is 2 to 4 inches of rain, the yellow is 4 to 6 inches, the orange is 6 to 10 inches, the red is 10 to 15 inches, and this little dot of pink is 15 to 20 inches of rain. So New Orleans is projected to get 10 to 15 plus inches of rain from Hurricane Ida. So if you are in New Orleans, I would recommend that you evacuate, because I don't want to bring up Katrina vibes, but this is looking very eerily similar in its track to Katrina. So if you're in New Orleans, I'd recommend considering evacuating. Meanwhile, the rest of southeastern Louisiana is going to see probably major flooding from insane amounts of rain, and this huge swath of 6 to 10 inches of rain extends across central and eastern Mississippi and western Alabama as well. So there's going to be a big flood threat with Ida across southeastern Louisiana and Mississippi and western Alabama. And let's look at what the spaghetti models say in terms of intensity and track. So it looks like all the models are now in agreement that the storm is going to hit between New Orleans and near Lafayette, Louisiana. So we have very good model agreement that is going to hit southeastern, south central Louisiana. If you are in southeastern, southern Louisiana and the Mississippi coastline, I would recommend evacuating because this is looking like a very serious storm with the potential to become, I believe, a Category 4 hurricane. It is forecasted to become a Category 3, but I think it's very possible it becomes Category 4, especially if that wind shear dies out. Because over the Gulf, you have insanely warm sea surface temperatures in the mid-80s, and storms in recent history have had a history of rapidly intensifying right before it makes landfall in the Gulf of Mexico. So I'm very concerned about Ida being an extremely destructive hurricane. And again, if you are in the Louisiana coast, the Mississippi coast, I would recommend evacuating because this is looking very dangerous. And speaking of dangerous, we're going to look at the wind and the storm surge. But first, we're going to look at intensity on the spaghetti models, and many of them are taking it to Cat 3, and one's even taking it to Category 4. So, yeah, get the idea. And this is the infrared satellite, and this is not good because your center is right in here somewhere and is surrounded by the blacks, whites, and pinks represent extremely tall thunderstorm clouds. So the center is completely surrounded, and because the core is completely surrounded by thunderstorms, it can now intensify, possibly rapidly intensify, because the wind shear is not going to be able to get to the center anymore. And let's look at hurricane force winds probabilities. And the hurricane center is conservative when it's still 2-3 days out. So the yellows are 30 to 40% chance of hurricane force winds, 40 to 50 in the darker yellow, and 50 to 60 in the darkest yellow. But I expect these probabilities to increase dramatically as the storm gets closer to landfall. And there was one more thing I was going to look at. Oh, storm surge. Yeah, this is probably the most important one. Because storm surge is the #1 killer in tropical storms and hurricanes. And I hope I can find the storm surge forecast for you guys because this is very crucial. And I don't know why it's not loading. It normally loads here, but I'm going to have to go to the National Hurricane Center to get it for you guys real quick. Here. And so from Sabine past Texas to Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge, Louisiana, you're expecting a 2 to 4 foot storm surge. From Rockefeller Wildlife Refuge to Morgan City, you're expecting a 4 to 7 foot storm surge. From Morgan City all the way to Ocean Springs, Mississippi, you are expecting a 7 to 11 foot storm surge. And from Ocean Springs to the Mississippi, Alabama border, a 4 to 7 foot storm surge. From the Alabama border to the Florida border, you are expecting a 3 to 5 foot storm surge. So again, if you are in anywhere in the 4 to 7 or greater storm surge and you live along the coast, I would recommend evacuating, because the storm surge of 4 to 7 feet is gonna like destroy your house. It is gonna cause you to drown, because it's basically like a massive tsunami coming in from as the hurricane. The winds blow the water on shore. Anyway, thanks for the update. Thanks for watching my update on Hurricane Ida, and this is going to be a very serious hurricane. So, thanks for watching, and guys, have a wonderful afternoon.